Right, we're going to be live in 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's counting down. I can see it.
Yeah. So, right, got to big up this week's interview. Really big up, man. MC Duke, absolute, you know, one of UK's finest UK rap from back in the
Thank you
day.
very much.
You know, much pleasure to have you on here, mate. Where was you born and raised, fella?
East London, Forest Gate, but I also grew up in the Caribbean. I was born
Nice,
here. Then my parents took me back to St. Lucia when I was a child.
nice. Music growing up. What was like playing when you was growing up?
Everything, everything from funk music, disco, R&B, a little bit of reggae, and even country and western, because country and western music was big in the Caribbean and still is, funnily enough.
Wow, man. So what got you into the rap game?
I'd been hearing rap records before hip hop and rap really got an actual name as a genre. Because my dad was a DJ, he had a vast record collection, and so I'd hear raps on old jazz records. I'd hear raps on old what would be considered now as rare groove records, and then the popularity of Rapper's Delight pushed it into everybody else's kind of lens. But I was kind of already there because I couldn't sing when I was a kid, but I could rap. Do you understand what I mean? I could throw a couple of words together and rhyme and shit. And so I was influenced by people like Pigmeat Markham.
Right.
He was making rap records in the late 60s.
Yeah, it's mad how when we look back, you know, we all say we all look at like Rapper's Delight and you know that side of it when we actually it was before that as well, wasn't it? As you just explained, it was a lot before that.
Yeah. Rap is obviously a very close relative of jazz. And if you go back to the 30s and the 40s, they would scat, and while they were scatting, they would rap. So it's not a new phenomenon. It's just it because it got put under the umbrella of hip hop, it became a new phenomenon. But there were people rapping and saying rhymes over the mic before hip hop had a name. It's just a fact.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I was listening to a lot of like American hip hop early days, like the electro. It's when like the likes of you, London Boys, London Posse, Cash Crew, you know, Gunshot. The list goes on. That whole UK rap took England by storm.
Yeah, but well, what happened was previous to that, the British music industry didn't have that much support for Black British artists.
No.
I'll even go as far as to let you know that Keep On Moving by Soul to Soul, they actually paid for that video themselves. The record company didn't think that the record would be that big, so it didn't need a video. Wow. Now, what happened when rap blew up, they saw that there was a market for Black British culture that they had not tapped into yet. Do you understand what I mean? They were still looking at America. They were still looking at reggae, you know, and there were a few soul and funk bands from London that had got attention previously, like Central Line, Light of the World, Gary's Gang, those kind of groups there.
Yeah.
So they were getting a little bit of attention, but I think two of them or three of them, most of them were the groups were pretty much the same people anyway, just getting signed to different record labels. But then when the rap came along and it was on an independent level, more independent labels started popping up because they could see there was money in it. And then that made the major labels start paying attention. And now look where we are now. Yeah,
I mean, like when I heard Miracles, I'm just going to say Miracles because I've got album, I've got the whole album, Miracles and Riffin. Now Riffin, riffing like always puts goose pimples on my arms. I say it with a lot of music. I've interviewed quite a few, and there's always one tune riffing. You know, that was DJ Leader One was with you on that, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like that. You know, can you explain a bit about that and like Miracles? Because like they're two big
We
tunes.
we were part of, again, even though we were known to be part of the hip hop scene, there was a house party scene in London where they played lots of old 70s rare groove music, which is where Derek B used to DJ. Before
R.I.P.
we became before we became Derek B, he was just Derek Boland. And
Right.
him and what was known then as Mad Hatter Trevor, which is now Trevor Nelson, they used
Wow.
to, yeah, they used to hold house parties in East London. There was an old mansion. They'd break in there, set the electric up, and put their speakers in there, and have house parties in the mansion. And not only just in that one mansion, all over East London. It was a thing that was done. It was kind of we grew up. Our parents used to go to what they call a shubbing, yeah, and or rent parties and so on and so forth. But in our era, we modified it and we just threw a party just to have fun. Do you
Yeah.
understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Those so that got modified and we started, jacking warehouses and so on and so forth. But it was the music that was being played that was the glue. It was all, like I'd say, 60s and early 70s, what we call funk and soul. But it got
Yeah.
given the name rare groove here, and that's where tracks like Miracles by the Jackson Sisters and
Yeah.
Funky Like a Train by the Equals, they were part of that particular movement. So the music that we were using when we went into the hip hop era was just an extension of that era. Whereas Americans were all using James Brown, we was using they didn't know about the tracks that we were using over here. In fact, I can tell you, they caught a surprise when we was playing tracks and they were like, where did you get that from? And it's an artist from America in a little town and you don't know about them, but we do, so it was a lot of that was going on.
It was really good to hear the fusion of them. I'm going to say fusion samples of them coming into like hip hop, because if I listen to things like that now, and I'm just going to pick like Wu-Tang, they do the same now. They use a
Yeah,
lot of disco like elements and like vocals.
yeah.
So it's really funny how you guys, well, yourself, you use them type those samples, and like I don't know what was that, 87, 88, somewhere around that time.
Yeah, about that period, about around that time, yeah.
So like 20 years on, or whatever the case may be, 10, 15 years on, they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Almost like a game changer.
hip hop is a circular uh, culture because it started in the disco era, and it's morphed and it's changed and it's had loads of other genres attached to it.
Yeah,
People have got now to the point where if you listen to what they call trap or drill or whatever, that's the sound from the early 80s. That's what
yeah,
launched Run DMC. It's still
yeah,
the same sound. So we're like, well, if you're going to keep staying on that sound, then we might as well go back to the breakbeats to keep the authenticity. Do you understand
yeah,
what I mean? And now people know how to get samples cleared and so on and so forth. It's not so hard to do anymore. So I think you're going to see, well, you're seeing it. There's
yeah,
an emergence of the old hip hop sound. You've heard it with King's Disease by Nas. You've heard it with Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
You've
yeah,
even
yeah.
heard it on Extinction Level 2, Extinction Level Event 2, Busta Rhymes. Everybody's going back to that early essence of what hip hop was.
Well, you know, you're saying about the breaks, because everyone uses them. That's in jungle. That's in drum and bass. That's in breakbeat.
Yeah.
That's the main. That's the main ingredient.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, jungle itself was birthed by UK hip hop.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Because DJ Leader One was making jungle, and I was like, I can't rhyme over that. I didn't understand what I was listening to. Do you understand what I mean? And this is before jungle had a name. He was
Right.
playing me stuff, and I didn't understand what, the speeded up break beats and mixed with this, that, and the other. It didn't click in my head. Then when it clicked, we started our own jungle label,
What was that?
Hard Disk.
Right, right. It's
Yeah,
you know what? It's this is the reason why I have you guys on, because a lot of people don't know, and it's
yeah,
always good. It's good to get like things out from yourself out to people that don't know.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to touch back on you know. Did you done a lot of touring back then? Did you?
yeah, yeah, man. We would never. We toured just. It just seemed like a never-ending tour, bruv. To a point where I actually got ill because I didn't have no time to rest. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? We was just going from city to city, party to party, blah 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 blah. It just felt like for years until it wasn't even. In the end, it didn't even feel like fun anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? You're getting money and that, but you ain't getting no sleep, and you're always in a strange place, eating weird food, and you know, a lot of people think that the tour life you turn up and it's a party from the beginning. It's not. You
No.
might turn up and they drop you off at an apartment, and you and whoever you're with, that's all you're seeing until you get to go onto the stage and they bring you to the club, you know. And
Yeah.
that's happened to me in many a city. So what I started doing was I'd just go out and walk around the city myself on my own and just see the sights. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So who would tour with you?
What my crew, or you mean like
Like
bands?
outsiders coming in. So would you who what other like UK rap groups would you tour with?
Oh, to begin with, I used to it was just me and the Demon Boys. We toured for a good 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
Um, and then I've done shows with near enough every UK artist that that
Yeah.
was around at that time because of the UK shows that were getting put on. But I went straight from touring with the Demon Boys to the Sinead O'Connor level. After that,
Wow.
I didn't tour with any more UK artists. I was touring with big pop artists or with Americans.
That's quite a jump in it. If you think
Yeah,
about it, that's quite a major jump. Like fair play to you, man. Hats off.
well, um, I don't because I was a breaker and a body popper before that. I'd been used to performing
Yeah.
and going on stage. So, and I used to freestyle rap in the Common Garden days anyway. So all I did was take that stage acumen and put the rap together and just do what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't performing wasn't anything new to me. That was old to me. So I had it down pat. When people were learning how to perform, I already had that shit locked off.
That's mad, mate. Um. So are you doing anything new?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I'm working at the moment. I did an album with a reggae artist called Busy T last year. We're gonna because of the way this year's gone. I was gonna
Mm.
release two singles featuring him this year, but because of the climate, it's been so dead it just didn't make any sense.
No.
And I've also got another young rapper and singer called Keats. He's a guy that I'm working on. You will hear about him. He's going to be on that level with a lot of the guys that are out there now. Lowski and your Stormzy's, and he's got that level of talent where he can sing and he can rap.
Yeah. I think like do you think like after like the say I'm gonna say late 80s into the early 90s, do you think the UK rap game went down a bit?
Of course,
Or do you think yeah,
of course, yeah. What happened was obviously the same thing happened in America. Um, they perceived what we were saying to be too militant, and even though they were making money off of it, they didn't want to hear us telling them the truth. So that's why you saw a lot of people, such as myself, your KRSs, your Public Enemies, all of
mm,
those kind of people. We all kind of faded to the back. Nobody disappeared. We just faded to the back and just started doing other ventures because
yeah,
I saw what was happening. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
When they were Musical Life was trying to make me go commercial. I didn't want to do that, so I gave them their second album, which was a bag of trash, and I left. You know what I mean? We then went and did we then went and did a deal with Shut Up and Dance for a year,
right. I
where
didn't know that.
we would yeah yeah we started me and Leader One started a group called the IC Freeze. Funnily
Right.
enough, a jungle MC went and took the name, And then recently, who is it? Getz and Skepta have gone and done a track called IC3. So
You know what? I think I've got one of those IC3 tracks here. And I've only
yeah,
just clocked, when you just said that, I've only just clocked. It was definitely, it was on Shut Up and Dance. Definitely, I've got it here. You know what? I'm going to break that out. I've got
yeah,
that here.
yeah. And so anyway, there we were doing production under on their other label as well, and they had another label called Rough Diamond, and we were doing dance production under the name of Conspiracy with a K.
I know that.
Yeah, and then we went over to do a deal with Suburban Bass, and I was releasing music under a label called GBH. And we also did the Swinging in the Trees EP. I can't believe how dark it is.
Wow,
Um,
man.
that's actually being re-released. That's actually being re-released on vinyl next year, and we've just finished working on a remix of it as well. So, and then after we did all those deals with Suburban Bass, we started. No, sorry. While I was at Suburban Bass, I started a label with them called Bluntly Speaking, and we had a group called Mad Skills, and I also had a group called IQ Procedures, which featured Roots Maneuver. So I was the first person to give Roots Maneuver a record deal.
Wow, man. I'm sure, didn't Mad Skills, I might get this wrong. Didn't they go on to, I think they might, are they like, I might, don't hold me to this one, I might be getting this wrong. Didn't they go on to Frontline with DJ Hype? I might be wrong.
No.
No.
Even though I do know Hype, that wasn't
Yeah.
us.
No, no, no.
We only released a couple of singles under that name,
Right.
because we were working on getting our jungle label together, because we could see there was no point in going back to hip hop. And lots of the hip hop people were now in jungle.
Yeah.
Do you understand? People
Yeah.
such as Gold, all in fact, near enough, most of the people that were in jungle at the beginning were all hip hop people. DJ Hype, Goldie, myself, Leader One. Just you could just go on and on and on and on.
I didn't realize the Criminal Minds were UK rappers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
There
didn't
was
know that. And then they brought out Baptism by Dub. I honestly, until like maybe a month ago, and I was like, I never knew that. Never knew that.
the Prodigy were a hip hop group.
That's mad.
Yeah.
That's it. Just shows you when sort of, I'm not gonna say like when one thing dies out or whatever. It's just like when one thing emerges that it's good that you guys can turn your hands to doing that, because most people give up because they want to do one genre. But if you can turn your hand and then go on to another thing and things become good, man, do you know what? Fair play.
Well, I'm a fast learner.
Yeah,
Where everybody else would be laying in bed, I'd be in the office at Music and Life learning the game. Do you understand me?
yeah,
And so while I was there, I sucked up all the knowledge, and again, I was astute. I looked at what our record deal was, and what we was worth, and what they were making, and what we were making, and I was like, nah, this ain't working for me. Do you understand what I mean?
yeah.
And so I hopped and skipped until we got enough money off of other record labels to start our own.
That's like mad, man. Going back to what you were saying about the about when like the whole thing about KRS-One yourself and like Public Enemy. I think when the government, I remember, I followed Silver Bullet along. He had a hell of a time, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, well, because he was signed to a major label,
Yeah,
that in itself can cause you a big issue. Because
yeah,
if they turn around and they shelve you, but they won't let you leave, you're fucked.
yeah. He like I remember him saying he got arrested when he got off the plane coming back for Americas because he had a four-finger ring on, and they arrested him at Heathrow and this and that. He was quite anti the establishment. Silver Bullet
Yeah,
was.
I got arrested for a two-finger ring. It actually went all the way to Crown Court, and the judge turned the judge turned around and said to the police, "Are you bringing forward a an expert to say this is a knuckle duster?" And they said no. And then he said, "Then this is two rings welded together with gold." And he dismissed the case, gave me back my money, gave me back my ring, and told them that they have to reimburse me my money for the case. And so then I sued the Metropolitan Police.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. I think that I think things like back then, I think the government weren't. How can I say? I don't think they was ready for the UK hip hop to take off. I think there was a lot of I think police brutality and stuff. They didn't want it.
Well, the problem is what they hate, what they fear is somebody like me galvanizing all of the youth against them. A voice, one man can move 1,000 people. You understand me? And that's what they fear. That's what they've always feared here, America, everywhere.
Yes.
If I say the right shit to you, I can make 2,000 people be in Trafalgar Square right now, ready to kick some fucking ass. They don't like that. It goes back to that. No one man should have all that power.
Yeah, true, man, true. So the rap game now, do you think there's a difference between? Because I'm naive, because I don't really follow UK rap like no more. And do you think there's a difference between grime and UK hip hop, or is it the same thing? There is.
No, because grime kids will tell you themselves. At the time when they came up, there weren't hardly any UK rap around.
Right.
Do you understand? They might have heard about London Posse, they might have heard about Black Twang or Roots Maneuver, but that's about it. All they were listening to back then was American rap.
Yeah.
So they came up under the American rap banner, not the UK rap banner. They came up rapping, but they're not UK rap. And they'll tell you that themselves. They'll tell you that themselves. UK rap, we was about trying to move the culture forward. Grime was about, well, it's even drill or trap or whatever. That's not moving the culture forward. It's only now you're starting to hear tracks from what you'd call a grime artist that are what you maybe term as positive.
Yeah, because I think grime side genre from I think House and Garage.
Yeah,
I think it was a side let from House and Garage because there was a lot all that sub-low stuff that come over.
It was even the House and Garage thing. A lot of the kids they were hip hop kids. They were because they their brain is hip hop mentality. So when they go into the garage thing, they like it, but they don't want to hear an MC. And then from they hear an MC, they want to hear some rowdy shit. And that's how comes grime became more prevalent to the younger guys than the garage scene. The garage scene was a lot of older people dressed up nice, drinking champagne, got a little bit of money or whatever. The grime kids weren't like that. They were from the corner. Yeah, they got a nice little bit of designer on and that, but they want to go on the mic and shout some fucking aggression out. You understand? Yeah. That's two different things. That's why when Wiley jumped off now, loads of people followed him because he knew what it was that the kids wanted to hear. They didn't want to hear garage. They wanted to hear that shit. You understand?
Yeah. It turned, didn't it? Because when Wiley come out, the Dizzies and all them guys, mate, they turned in a different direction, and I saw the decline in garage. It sort of stepped off. I know it's making a comeback now, but it sort of declined a lot.
Because a lot of the garage people, they're grown-ups. They're not kids.
No.
And they don't want them kids around them either. So there was definitely a separation. Do you understand what I mean? There was definitely a separation. And that was on purpose.
So I'm going to go back back to the UK hip hop back in the day. So do you think most of that was born out of East London?
What the hip hop?
UK hip hop, yeah, from back in '87, like what you was around the era that you was in.
I was pushing hip hop in East London in '82. Right. So there were other MCs in East London at that time, but they didn't make it at that time. Right. You understand? Like I grew up with MC Creed. Me and MC Creed was friends. He blew up in garage. I blew up in hip hop. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy how like it's really good that everyone like knows people on different genres.
Yeah,
It's amazing how many people know each other
yeah. Well, I mean,
on
look at
different things.
Unknown MC from Do You Really Like It?
Yeah.
That's Comanche Sly from Hijack.
Oh no. Oh god. It's crazy. That's I can't believe you just said that. That's mad stuff, mate.
Yeah,
That's
I could
that's
go
that's
on, bro.
crazy.
I could sit here and blow your mind with who's who in this game and who knows who, because we all grew up. We all like Hijack and them guys. They was over Battersea around them sides. I still
Yeah,
knew Hijack. I still knew Ron before years before we even got record deals. Do you
yeah,
understand me? I knew him when I knew Creed. Them two didn't even know each other then. But because I used to travel. One thing about me, because my dad was a DJ, I saw outside of Forest Gate when
yeah,
people in my hood was just listening to sound system music or whatever. I was traveling. I was going around London to different places. I saw what was outside of our area. You understand what I mean? And so from
yeah.
I saw that, I wanted to see more. So I was a dude that used to travel on my own as well.
That's crazy. What did you think of the acid house when that come up onto the scene and hip house?
It flopped me because basically we'd been on tour and all I was hearing was hip hop in Europe. Everywhere I went, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop. Come back to England now and everybody's going acid. I was like, what the fuck is this? You understand me? I was like, well, this definitely ain't a piece of me at all. You understand? Didn't want no parts of it. But I knew it wasn't going to last either. I knew it wasn't going to last. I looked at it and I thought, all right, this seems to be all based on how lean you can get on whatever pills you're taking. That's not us.
No,
That's
no, no.
just not us.
It, it,
You
it, it
understand what
sort
I
of
mean?
it sort of lasted for a few years, but not that long. But you know,
Yeah,
every genre has its time, I should imagine.
yeah. But
It's
acid had its moment. But then when it when it everything changed to like what they call jungle techno, that
yeah,
was it. Game over. Because when jungle techno was going on in East London, it wasn't going on anywhere else. You understand me? There was
yeah,
maybe two clubs. One of them at the back of Stratford there that was playing it, and then I think there was one in Forest Gate somewhere. And that was the training ground for jungle because it wasn't getting played anywhere else. You
no,
understand what I mean? And then
yeah,
bit by bit now it started leaking out of the area into other areas, and then boom, you saw what happened. It went massive.
yeah. It sort of went like crazy, man. But yeah, it's crazy how music evolves, and you know, it brings a lot of people into it. You know, new artists, old artists, and like you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I've been involved or or around music my whole life, and I don't see anything changing.
Yeah,
You know, I might do other jobs or whatever in between, but I will always be on a project. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because it's
yeah,
just what I do.
yeah.
So
And you know what? That's a really good point because you know what? I think if you're involved in that side of music production, DJ, you don't want to just then fade out. You need to keep going because I see a lot of people they fade out and you're like, oh, what happened? And they're like, oh, you know, the game went out of it, so I'll just give it up. But there's always, you know, if you're musically minded, you can turn your hand.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because I grew up listening to loads of different music. Years ago, I set about a plan where I started making instrumentals based around, still based around hip hop and that, or based around street music. But I made sure that they had a slightly commercial element in them, and that they were even played in the right keys for music that sell the most selling music. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
And and I put together maybe about an album of stuff, waiting for the right kid to come along. Do you understand me? And I think I found him. So, you know,
Well,
and I've been building those instrumentals over the last 15 years.
you know, it's always good to have something like, you know, if you've got something from 15 years ago or whatever the case may be, you know, that, as you say, there's always going to be that right person that comes along and you're like, do you know what, that track's been sitting on a DAT or it's been sitting on disc or plate, you know, try this.
Yeah.
You know, it's not worth getting rid of that stuff because you never know, the right artist comes along and it fits it.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I had this idea and I thought eventually I'll find a kid that can understand what it is, and I found him. I played him all of the tracks that I had in the archive specifically for this project, and he liked them all. And he's a really good songwriter and he's a really good rapper. So to me, all I've got to do is record your vocals and mix the music, and let's see who salutes the flag when I run it up the pole. You get me?
Yeah, you know, I think as a country, we should just be all like, really, in my eyes, we should just be supporting each other to push music.
Yeah, well, I mean, now most people are smart enough to know you don't really need a record deal. You could get your
No,
stuff on the streaming services yourself. Anything that a record label will do, you can do it yourself. You understand
yeah,
me? If they're going to pay for a video, you could scrape the money together for a video. If they're going to get it on YouTube, you could put it on YouTube. If they're going to put it all over Instagram, you could do that. If they're going to put it on TikTok, you could do that. Do you understand what
yeah.
I'm saying? You know, promote it
Your,
on
your,
Facebook.
your promotion becomes yourself, really, if you think
Yeah,
about it, because you know, if you look at social media, you know, if you, I don't know, if you stuck a picture of yourself with your thumbs up, I guarantee you'd get 30 likes or something.
exactly. So it's I was saying, I've been in the game long enough to know if I got even if I only had, say, 1,000 real loyal fans who still wanted to buy MC Duke products, if because I'm selling
Yeah,
it direct to them, I could still be successful.
yeah, definitely.
And on a micro business for an artist, that works because there's people that do that. They got about 1,000 people that follow them, but they all buy their merch, they buy their hats, they buy the CDs. If they do special vinyl releases, they buy them as well. And if they're doing a show, then people turn up. Do you understand
Yeah,
me? And that's
it's the loyal
what's missing.
following.
Yeah, that's what's missing now for a lot of artists, because also it's a plus and it's a minus. You don't have to beg people to play your stuff on the radio because kids don't listen to the fucking radio. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you get yourself on one extra, it's a bonus. But at the
Yeah,
end of the day, you're better off trying to get yourself on a playlist on Spotify. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah. To be honest, I don't listen to the radio because I don't feel there's nothing in the charts that I would even know now. You know, if I listen to the radio, I listen to 80s or disco or something or other for something that I sort of understand. It's probably me getting older that I don't want to understand that music no more.
It's some music ain't for us.
No,
Same way when rap started getting big, everybody was taking a piss. What is this rap shit? Fucking talking over records. Rah, 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 rah. This shit ain't gonna last. Really?
mm. Well, it did.
Exactly. The proof is in the pudding.
Well, I was looking at the amount of artists that like UK artists that come out of like England, and if you look, there was quite a few. Like I forget about the She Rockers. You know, Derek B, R.I.P. You know,
Cookie Crew.
there was the Cash Crew. You know, Gunshot. There was so many Silver Bullets, the Brotherhood. There was so many that people didn't know about.
Hard Noise.
Hard Noise, yeah.
Caveman.
Oh, Fry Your Fish, Caveman, jeez. It's just all those. It's all those people, like Leslie Lyrics as well.
Yeah.
It's you know, I look when I look back and I see, as I say, I look at records that I've got from you know, all that, and I'm like, you know what, this was a really good era. It was a very good era.
Undeniable. It changed the music industry in the UK. I said this many times. Every genre of street music that has come out since UK hip hop has had an MC on it. Before UK hip hop, there was only Smiley Culture.
R.I.P.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Before that, that was it. After Music Alive, every single version genre of street music has had an MC on it. Every genre.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Garage, grime,
Everything.
drum and bass, jungle, dubstep, you name it. And
The
now
whole.
trap, drill, it's all. So from that point onwards, it's a benchmark moment. It
Yeah.
changed the British music industry,
I think
and
you know,
and it made them have to start taking black artists serious as well.
and it also made a lot of people listen because you know, there's not many. You're gonna say this. I want this to come out right. There's not many things that we have a stamp on, and we've actually got our stamp on music in this country where we used to have to go to, well, listen to Americans or different
Yeah,
countries. You
yeah,
know, what did
yeah,
we have? The Beatles and the Stones. But if you think, you know, UK hip hop, it got a stamp. Jungle, it got a stamp. Drum and bass, it got a stamp. Grime, it got a stamp. You know, all of that stuff. It's like we actually stamped that.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. That from that moment on, it changed the industry. Now they
Yeah,
have to take rhyme artists serious. They have to take a rapper serious. They have to take a female rapper serious. You
yeah,
understand what I'm saying? They have to take the producers serious. You know, look at people like Ironic. He came along, he was producing for what's his name? Chip. And then he ended
yeah.
up producing for Elton John.
That's great.
That's about do you understand me? That's how serious shit is. So
Yeah,
so
go
you
on.
know, it definitely changed the game. And I can say that I'm proud to have been part of that era because it will always be remembered. You understand? It will
Yeah,
always be remembered.
right. I'm just gonna come to. I'm gonna wrap up now, mate. One.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say to this one last question. What's the best crowd you've ever played to? What venue?
Brixton Academy.
Wow. You can't get bigger than that, can you? Really?
No, because I was warming up for Public Enemy.
Oh,
So
gee.
yeah, it was full capacity. Me and DJ Leader One did our thing. The crowd went off, and then we ran upstairs and we watched a Public Enemy afterwards. You understand me?
You know what?
And then
Life can't get
and then
better than that, can it?
yeah, no, but then after that, because of our performance, they said, yeah, you can come on tour with us. You know what I'm saying? So we did the European tour as well.
Wow. That's so. You know what? Just on a side thing before we go, I didn't realize I was watching an interview with Chuck D that they were actually based in England, not
Yeah,
America. I
yeah.
didn't know that.
I used to see Chuck near enough every day, man. He used to come to the office, the Musical Life office, near enough every day. That's how comes Griff ended up producing for the She-Rockers.
I didn't know that either, man. What? Oh God. Oh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have a nice day. That was produced by Griff. Go back and listen to it. If you go back and listen to it, you'll hear Public Enemy all over that. Because Griff Griff is one of the originators of the Public Enemy sound.
I'm gonna listen to that. Listen, got it here.
He's got a new album out. Go listen to Griff's new album, right? And then compare it to the new Public Enemy album. And I think you'll find that Griff has got more of the original Public Enemy sound than the new Public Enemy album.
Yeah. But have you heard the new? What do you think of the new album?
Yeah, I'm always supporting Chuck. I'm always supporting Chuck.
I don't think it was that bad because he brought all the old schoolers back on it.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I thought it was a good. I thought it was a good album.
Chuck could take a shit in a bag. I'm supporting it. You understand what I'm saying? It's Chuck D, right? I'm supporting it. Right, that dude there, he's another one who taught me a lot when I was on tour. So, and it might seem like I wasn't taking it in. I took it in. You understand me? I took it in because what he taught me was what I went on to do afterwards, which was get our own label and get our own money and distribute it yourself. But listen, bro, my phone is nearly dead.
Right. Listen, got a big up MC Duke for coming up. Thanks ever so much, mate. You know what? I've learned a lot of lessons and a lot of knowledge, mate. Thank you ever so much for coming on at short notice as well.
No problem. Can you send me a copy of this interview? I want to put it on my link tree so people can see it.
I can put it on I can send it to you in about 2 minutes, brother.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, Duke. Thank you ever so much, buddy.
It's been a pleasure. You take care.
Peace.
One.